Olivia. I paused for a moment and looked at him. Why was he asking me not to sign the papers anymore? Did he change his mind about moving on with the divorce? There was an awkward silence for a few moments and I looked at him in anticipation, waiting for an explanation. Let's wait until after the party tomorrow, he said, breaking the uncomfortable silence. We have to appear as a couple at the event. I swallowed hard. I expected to hear something else. I expected him to say he had changed his mind about the divorce. Okay, I said without asking further questions. After that, I dropped the papers and the table and walked out of the room. Alex tried calling me back but I ignored him and walked into the kitchen. I couldn't believe he wanted me to act like everything was okay. He wanted us to pretend in public. I poured myself a glass of water and took deep breaths to calm myself down. My mind kept on racing with different thoughts. So I was still a married woman but not for long? I thought about how my life would be after I signed the papers. I had put my career on hold just to be Alexander's wife. When we first got married, he asked me to stop working, claiming he was a billionaire and his duty was to provide everything I needed. He had given me everything I ever wanted and even spoiled me with expensive gifts. I had grown so accustomed to the luxury that I didn't see the need to work again. But now as our marriage was crumbling, I realized that I had made a mistake. I knew there was no need to try and make him change his mind about the divorce. It was time for me to move on no matter how hard it would be. As I sipped from the glass, I heard footsteps walking towards the kitchen. It was Alex and I had no idea why he was coming to meet me. Olivia. He began in a low voice as he walked through the slightly open door. I hope you understand why I asked you to wait until after the pa. But I cut him off before he could complete his sentence. Yes, Alexander. I understand why you asked to wait until after the party. We don't have to talk about it anymore, I'll sign the papers after the party. Okay, I'm going to bed. He informed me and I responded with a nonchalant nod. It was already late but I didn't think I could get any sleep because it felt like there was a hole in my chest. I was angry and hurt. I didn't want to be in the same place as him or even talk to him. He looked so calm and was okay with the fact that we were getting a divorce. It was like all those years we spent together didn't mean anything to him. Aren't you coming? He added but I still remained quiet. When he saw I wasn't speaking to him, he shrugged and went out the door. As the kitchen door swung shut behind Alex, I couldn't help but think of how we first met. His perfect black hair, his chiseled jawline, and his piercing blue eyes had drawn me to him. I was swept off my feet by his confidence and charming smile when he walked up to me at the bar that night. It was my birthday and I went to the bar with a few of my friends to celebrate over drinks. Alex said I had caught his attention and he wasn't going to leave the table until I gave him my phone number. I was reluctant at first because I had just broken up with my boyfriend and I needed some time for myself, but my friends pushed for me to give it to him. The times I spent with him were amazing, but I always felt insecure most of the time because I was just an average person and he was a famous man with a net worth more than $1 billion. The next day, I woke up a little bit late because it was going to be a long day. I had slept in one of the empty rooms because I couldn't sleep on the same bed with Alex. I had planned on getting a new hairdo for the event, so I went back to my room to get ready. I expected to see Alex but I met an empty room. It was the weekend and he didn't have to leave for work, so I was confused on why he had already left the house. I was about to assume he had gone out to meet his ex, when I saw a note on the side drawer. I'm going to meet with Arthur. I let out a sigh of relief as I read the note. After that, I showered and dressed up before leaving for the salon for my hair appointment. On my way, I picked up Sandra because she offered to follow after hearing about my divorce. Sandra had always been my emotional support. I had a few other friends but they weren't as close to me as Sandra was. Are you okay? Sandra asked me with concern in her eyes as we pulled up in the parking lot of the building. For the millionth time, I am okay, I replied, forcing a fake smile. Throughout the ride, Sandra kept on asking me if I was okay. I appreciated her concern, but I didn't want to talk about my problems. I get it. You don't want to talk about it, she said as we made our way out of the car. Finally, I said with a playful scoff. So quit asking me if I'm okay and let's go have a makeover. I pointed to the entrance of the saloon with a happy face. I didn't want Sandra to be worried about me, so I had to pretend like I was happy. We got into the building and confirmed my appointment. After a few hours, we were done and stopped by a restaurant for lunch on our way home. I was desperate for any distraction to keep my mind off my failing marriage. Lunch wasn't so great because the food tasted like ash in my mouth, but I was grateful for Sandra's company. She made me feel a little bit better. After lunch, I dropped Sandra off at her house so she could prepare for the party. Thank you, Sandra, I said in appreciation as she closed the car door behind her. Anytime, babes, she said with a wide smile and blew me a kiss before retreating to her apartment. I stayed in the car for some time, lost in my thoughts, before turning the key in the ignition and driving back to the house. When I arrived, Alex was already back. We didn't say anything to each other when we ran into each other on the stairs. I just went upstairs and started getting ready for the party.